adventurers, I'm Michael Clark, brand manager for Neverwinter, and I'm here to talk about the new changes coming to the game with our newest module, Jewel of the North. With Jewel of the North, we really set out with 3 core goals in mind. Improve the early game experience, create a more cohesive and concise leveling journey, and build an exciting new class that all our players, new or returning, will enjoy. Our first big challenge was figuring out exactly how to polish the leveling journey, and ultimately, this is where we really saw an opportunity to bring the game closer to its D&D roots. Upon loading up Jewel of the North for the first time, one of the first things you'll notice is the lack of an XP bar. In its place, you'll notice a new feature called the Adventure Log. Instead of the traditional MMORPG model, where XP is gained from defeating individual enemies and completing quests, we've transitioned to a milestone leveling system. This is a system that's derived from D&D's 5th edition, and in the case of Neverwinter, our larger objectives are what we call adventures. There will be 6 large adventures and zones for you to complete and explore: Neverdeath Graveyard, Velosk, Ebon Downs, Icespire Peak, Chasm, and Whispering Caverns. Each of these areas have been fine-tuned to provide a concise narrative experience, and completing each one will gain a certain amount of levels. After completing all the adventures, you will reach our new maximum level of 20, and will then be ready to take on endgame level content. We've also added 2 new locations to Protector's Enclave that will be very important to your journey: the Adventurers Guild and the Training Room. The new Adventurers Guild houses all of the class and Paragon trainers in one convenient location. It'll also be where you go to learn all the new mechanics and game systems. The Training Room is exactly what it sounds like. This will be somewhere that players can visit to test out new abilities and builds using a vast array of modifiers to replicate different combat scenarios. Our final goal was to create a fun new class, which we think we accomplished with the Bard. The Bard is a support DPS hybrid class who uses the power of music to enhance their allies and defeat their enemies. And as one of the more popular D&D classes, we knew it would be a great fit for our game. In order to truly execute on the dream of playing a Bard, we've introduced a new mechanic called Performance Mode. This allows the Bard to weave together songs during combat by pressing a string of notes in sequence, each of which represents a different song ability. Think of it like the Ocarina and Zelda's Ocarina of Time. Be careful though, the Bard has a limited performance meter, so pay close attention to that during combat. While this feature will be limited to a certain set of notes in combat, you'll be able to enter free performance mode out of combat, which boosts your musical repertoire to include more octaves and semitones. Like the other classes in Neverwinter, you'll be able to choose from 2 Paragon paths at level 11, both of which change up your playstyle considerably. With the Bard, you'll get to choose between the Swashbuckling Songblade and the more traditional healer support path, the Minstrel. The Songblade is all about mobility, style, and damage output. This deadly duelist is at their best when they're dashing in and out of combat, striking opponents' weak points, and buffing both themselves and allies with elemental damage. The Minstrel, on the other hand, is a mesmerizing performer whose bombastic ballads sweep the battlefield, either lifting allies or devastating enemies. With a much larger performance pool than the Songblade, the Minstrel acts as a more than capable healer for your party. This is all I have to share today, but you can look forward to experiencing all of these new changes when Jewel of the North launches on PC July 27th and on consoles later this fall. Until next time, adventurers.